Today we are looking at another role model from the Old Testament. In the first book of Samuel, chapter 25, we are told about a man, a very rich farmer. He had 3,000 sheep, 1,000 goats, lots and lots of landed properties, and obviously a lot of land, and lots of servants and workers under him. But the problem he has was that he was a rough and surly man. His wife, Abigail, had been obviously married to him for a number of years. She was probably at least 30 years old, and she was really the brain behind the couple. She was in charge of the servants, and if you read the story, you see that she had built a good and excellent relationship with lots of the servants and the workers on the farm. She was always open to them. She didn't condemn them. She listened, and that is proved by what happened. So those shepherds in the field had been meeting with David and his men that were on the run at that time. And David and the men had protected them. They never harmed any of the workers. They took care of them, prevented them from being mugged or attacked by people or beasts. And the time came when the sheep were being sheared. It was a big feast when you remove the wool from the sheep to sell it. And so Nabal and the family had prepared a big feast, and they were preparing banquets. They had bought a lot of food to feast all the workers, including the shearers. And so David heard it and decided to ask for a share, in response for his having taken care of the shepherds for quite a while. So he sent servants to ask, and Nabal reacted violently, saying, who is that man that is asking? I don't know anybody that is called David, and anyway, there are so many riffraff there. I have no time for that. And he just insulted David in front of his messengers. So the people returned and reported. And David said, what's the point? You do good for months and months. The whole year I've been caring for these people, free of charge, just out of my goodwill. And see what they are saying. They are treating me really badly. And at that time, David had already been anointed king of Israel. It's only that he was not yet on the seat of the king. But as servants from David were reporting, one of the servants of Nabal went and reported to his wife and said, see what happened. You better know what to do because it doesn't augur well. I'm afraid that this is going to be bad news. And Abigail didn't take time to really think about it. She saw immediately what was the likely consequence of her husband's burst of anger. And so she prepared a lot of food. She went to the granary and the store places and gathered a lot of food. And then she took some servants, loaded the whole food on donkeys, and went straight to David. And when she reached there, she first of all made it clear that she had not met his messengers personally, that she only heard about the incident afterwards. Secondly, she made a distance. She made clear that there was a distance between her and the husband. She didn't talk about him as my husband. She said, forget about that man, forgive him. It's just like his name. His name means fool and he's a fool. Just ignore what he said. And she went ahead and acknowledged that she knew about the kinship of David, that she was aware of his rank, and she praised him for what he had done, all the good he had done to them, and prayed for him, or poured blessings upon him, and begged him to take the food and forgive. And in response, David acknowledged her wisdom and said, it's really God that sent you, because if not, I would have avenged myself, and that would have been against God's will. He knew that she had prevented him from sinning and spilling blood himself. Because as we know, God said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. Stand still and see. And so she did good. David acknowledged him, thanked her profusely, and told her, just go home, it is well, there will be no problem. So she went home and went to find out about the husband. Met him busy drinking and feasting. A huge banquet was on, and she wisely decided to say nothing. She said nothing, and she waited. But she didn't hide the situation from the husband. She just waited for the right time. And then the following morning, when he was sober, she told him, see what happened. The whole of your household could have been wiped out. And fear gripped him so much that he had a heart attack. His body, we are told, became like stone. And he stayed there 10 days, after which he died. All this while, David did nothing. But when he heard that the husband had died, that she was now a widow, probably in danger of being disturbed, lack, because the family would have come round and tried to get things from her, threatening the husband's estate, went and he sent word for her and said, I've appreciated you, would you like to be my wife? Remember that in those days, polygamy was the order of the day. That was permitted by God at that time. And so she accepted and joined the other wives he had. So what we can learn, there are lots of lessons. First of all, it's not every girl that marries the fantastic man of her dreams. And those days, marriage was arranged. And she was with that man. She didn't run away. She didn't protest. She didn't become wicked because he was. She just endured the marriage, made the most of it, worked very well to maintain the husband's estate and wealth. She developed a good relationship with the servants and workers so that they knew that she was the brain behind the situations, that she was the one that would solve every problem, and they would go to her in confidence, that they knew she would know how to sort out problems that arose. She also, in a couple, knew how to talk or keep quiet. It's not every time that we talk blah 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 blah. Before you open your mouth, you have to think. Is your husband, is your wife ready to listen? she waited wisely when she saw he was drunk. If she had talked at that time, it would have been probably quite bad. So she knew how to handle the husband with his flaws, appreciate him still, he was the head, and she never quarreled, she never usurped his authority. She was still polite and respectful, but at the same time, she felt the need of talking to him about what was going on. And that went well for her. And she was obviously a knowledgeable, intelligent, and very wise woman. And the situation, in spite of the difficulties in her marriage, gave her the opportunity to manage the estate for the better. So she was a precious gift to the husband. And eventually, when she was made a widow, God provided a covering for her. So that is a very, very good and reliable role model to follow.